Hello, welcome to today's video where I'm going to be showing you how you can find the stationary points of a curve. But what is a stationary point? Well, if you have a curve that's doing something like this, or perhaps you have a curve that's doing something like this, or even you have a curve that's doing something such as this, then these are all examples of curves that have stationary points. In each of those three cases, this would be the stationary point on the first case, this would be where the stationary point is on the second case, and on that third case, this is where the stationary point is placed. But why do we care about them? Well, it all boils down to the fact that, for instance, in this first case, that stationary point is providing the minimum y value for that curve. Or for this second case, the stationary point is providing the maximum y value of the curve. The third case is something known as a point of inflection, but that's something we'll focus more on in a future video, but just note that it's neither a minimum or a maximum value at that point. While it's worth noting that all three of these cases are examples of stationary points, only the first two cases are examples of what you sometimes might hear being called turning points. So it's worth making that distinction. Stationary points is all three cases, but turning points is only the point where we've got a minimum or a maximum occurring. But how are we going to find where these stationary points occur? A big clue comes from looking at what's happening to the graph at these points. In each of these cases, you might notice that the graph almost looks like it's leveling out temporarily. The gradient is becoming horizontal just momentarily. And that's quite interesting because conveniently we have a way of being able to tell what the gradient of a curve is, which is by using differentiation. So therefore, if we're looking for where the gradient becomes horizontal, that would be a gradient with a value of 0. So therefore, to find where a stationary point is, you just need to differentiate and set it equal to 0 because that would find where the points have a gradient of 0 on the curve. And that's ultimately it. It's about differentiating, setting equal to 0 and solving. So let's go ahead and do that in an example. So we've got this equation of a curve and we need to find the coordinates of the stationary points. That's important to take note of because that means we've got to find both the x and the y coordinates of those points. And so we can go ahead and find the stationary points by using the process we just talked about. We can start by differentiating to find dy dx using the classic times by the power, take 1 off the power trick, as well as also being able to differentiate all these terms in this polynomial separately because they're all separated by plus or minus symbols. This will lead to this because the plus 168 will differentiate to 0 when you do this process. We then, because we want to find stationary points, need to make it clear that we're setting this equal to 0. And in fact, this is a mistake some students make when trying to do these sort of questions. They find dy dx and then they're solving something, supposedly, but that's technically not right, because until you've written equals 0 to make it an equation with things on both sides, that you are able to be in a position to solve what you've got. So do make sure you set it equal to 0, partly because that's also showing that you have an understanding of what a stationary point is as well. Then I'm going to go ahead and solve this equation, and I'm going to do it by factorizing. We've made quite a big deal about the benefits of factorizing in some previous videos, and that's because it's particularly useful when you have equations that are set equal to 0. And guess what? When we're doing this process that we're doing here today to find stationary points, you are always going to have an equation that's set equal to 0 because dy dx equals 0 is when stationary points occur. This will leave us with x squared minus 5x minus 24. And we still have that equals 0, which is useful because it means we can now set both of the factors individually equal to 0 and then solve them to get our solutions. So we get x equals 0, and then from the quadratic, you could either use the quadratic formula, or if you spot conveniently, this is one that does factorize quite nicely, meaning we get x equals 8 or x equals minus 3. However, as I mentioned above, the question asks for coordinates, and therefore we've got to find the y coordinate to go with each of these x coordinates. And this is where having proper mathematical notation everywhere that you've written an equation is important, because it then makes it very clear which equation you have to use to find what thing you're trying to find. In this case, we're trying to find y values, so it makes sense we would use the equation that y equals. So do pay attention to the math notation as well as making sure that you're actually writing it. So in this case, we're going to plug each of these x values into that equation to get the y coordinates. So we're going to end up with y equals 3 lots of 0 to the power 4 minus 20, 0 to the power 3 minus 144, lots of 0 squared, plus 168, which leads to the first stationary point of 0, 168. We're also going to plug in x equals 8 into this equation. And that'll end up with a very big number. We're going to end up with minus 7,000. Which therefore means we know the second stationary point would be 8 minus 7,000. And then lastly, we're going to plug in y equals minus 3 into our equation. So we'll end up with 3 lots of minus 3 all to the power 4 as usual. When applying powers to negative numbers, make proper use of brackets to ensure the power is being applied properly. Sorry, I'm cramming it in up the top here. But that will come to minus 345, meaning our third and final stationary point is minus 3 minus 345. And there you go, we've found the coordinates of all our stationary points as requested, and therefore we're done. However, that's because in this case we were only asked to find where the stationary points were. But sometimes you're asked to find out what type of stationary point you found. Was it a minimum, was it a maximum, or was it a point of inflection? But that is something we're going to cover in another video. So that will do us for today. I'll see you in a future video where we're going to cover exactly that. Goodbye.